Hey everybody, John Woolworth here for Travel Worth Taking. When I'm traveling, I'm always on a budget. Some of the best places to travel on Earth don't need to break the bank. I get to travel to some truly varied and unique places from the Caribbean to Central Asia to Africa. So the point of this channel is to tell you about the places I go, then break down the cost of going there, and finally at the end I tell you, in my opinion, whether it was worth going based on the expenses and what we got to do. So with that, this week we are truly traveling off the beaten path to the city of Arba Minch, Ethiopia. Now if you've never heard of Arba Minch, that's okay. I'd never heard of it before I went to Ethiopia either. It's about 500 kilometers south of the capital of Ethiopia, Addis Ababa. Arba Minch is known mainly for Nechisar National Park, which borders it. Arba Minch means 40 springs, and it's named after the 40 freshwater springs that flow in the valley where Nechisar National Park rests. Arba Minch is also the gateway to the southern tribal nations along the Ethiopia-Kenya border. If you're truly an adventurous traveler, that is likely where you're going, and it was my final destination as well. If you're flying into Ethiopia, you'll almost certainly be coming through Addis Ababa. Addis is a sprawling modern city of several million people, almost dead center in the country. There's a lot there, but if you're coming to Ethiopia, chances are you've come to see some of the cultural, natural, or historic places that the country offers, so you'll end up taking a smaller regional plane from there. This was also the case coming to Arba Minch. We landed in Addis, then hopped on a small propeller plane to bring us down south. Arba Minch is lower in elevation than most of Ethiopia. Whereas most of Ethiopia is fairly cool due to the altitude, Arba Minch is warm and humid. You'll see this as you approach the city from the air. There's a haze in the air, plantations are growing bananas, and a thick forest covers the valley near the airport. The other thing you won't be able to miss is the massive lake as you fly over for the approach. Lake Abaya and Lake Chamo both border Arba Minch. Despite the fact that they are very close, they look completely different. Lake Abaya is very silty and yellowish or pink depending on the lighting. Lake Chamo is much clearer. Both lakes provide fish to the local area and are full of crocodiles and hippos. In fact, it's popular to take a boat tour to see these dangerous animals, as well as the local bird life and other wildlife. You can also take a walking or driving tour through the national park. We stayed at the Haile Resort, which is a beautiful hotel perched on top of the cliff overlooking the rainforest and both lakes. There's also a couple of other luxury hotels, all of which sit on the cliff overlooking the park. In fact, there was a trail that started near our hotel and led down the cliff into the park itself. This is not recommended though, because a lot of the wildlife is quite dangerous. I took a tour through the national park through the main gate, and we had to have an armed guard with us, mostly for the baboons. There are even armed guards outside the hotel for the same reason. Other animals that can be seen within the park are zebras, gazelles, leopards, hyenas, lions, jackals, monkeys, and of course the previously mentioned baboons, hippos, and crocodiles. In fact, one of the highlights for me when we stayed in the Haile Hotel was getting up before sunrise and listening as the eerie calls of the baboons carried across the valley at first light. It is a sound I can't describe and one you will never forget. I'm going to give a hotel tour now, as if you come to Arba Minch, this is likely where you'll stay. The Haile Hotel, or the Haile Resort rather, is gorgeous and price-wise is extremely reasonable. So now for the tour. As you walk up to the Haile Hotel, you've got these gorgeous grounds. They're manicured just immaculately. And then you come up the walk here to the hotel. It's a nice building. And then you come up to the front entrance, and they meet you with some tea. Well, then you got this great entrance here. Really grand room. And the thing that the hotel is known for is the view of the rainforest and Nechisar National Park. Huge glass windows. And then you go outside, on the back side of it. Excuse me.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. And you take a walk to the back. And this is why the hotel's here. You got Nechisar National Park right there. And Chamo Lake in the distance. And then there's another lake over there, but I can't remember the name of that one. But it's another large lake in the Rift Valley. Then you come back up again, and you've got the restaurant, which some of it's outside and some of it's inside. Your choice what you want to do. But yeah, you can eat outside and check out the view. I don't know what the cost of the place was this time, but last time I was here it was really, really inexpensive. I mean, like Super 8 kind of inexpensive, but who knows, that might have changed by now. And then you go down the hall here and they've got shops and gallery, although that's closed right now. Got a place you can get some haircuts. Hello. How are you? Good. And a little farther down, there's a spa. You can get massages and such. And then there's a weight room at the end as well, which I'm thrilled about. Hey again, how are you? Good. Pretty decent weight room. This guy spotted me before. And then last but not least, there is a pool, although it is not in operation right now. I guess they are working on it at the moment, but I have swam in it before and it was actually really clean. It was nice. Well, this is our room in the Haile Hotel. Really nice. Sorry it's already a little bit lived in. We've been here for a couple hours and unpacked our stuff from our flight from Addis. But as you can see, beds are nice. It's all nicely tiled floor. It's painted, it's clean. It has artwork on the wall. Get the lights on there. Maybe. There we go. Got lights over the beds. There's a desk to work at, television. Everything's just really top notch. And then of course the piece de resistance is you step out onto the balcony and you have got that view of the rainforest and the mountains and Lake Chamo in the distance. Really, really nice. Beautiful. And there's actually a porch you can sit on as well and just enjoy the view. So overall, just a really super nice room. It's air conditioned. I would definitely recommend this place. This is great. And then you come into the bathroom here, and you have a nice tile shower with hot running water and no Widowmaker. If you don't know what a Widowmaker is, it's basically a waffle iron that you pour water over to get hot water, and it's in a lot of African bathrooms. This is just a regular shower and toilet, regular Western toilet. Oh, sorry, I'm doing my laundry in the sink, but sink and mirror, again, clean, super nice. Everything is really, really top notch in here. The beauty and luxury of this hotel really stands in contrast to what you experience should you head farther south. Once you leave Arba Minch, heck, once you leave the row of hotels, the infrastructure and security really tend to fall apart. By the time you get down to Yabalo farther south, there are no hotels that live up to international standards. So enjoy the Haile while you can, should that not be your final destination. However, the cultural sites of the southern nations in the Omo Valley are absolutely amazing. They are different from anywhere else in Ethiopia and even anywhere else in the world for that matter. If comfort is not a must for you, it would definitely be worth the trip, especially if you're a photographer, which I am. Keep in mind though that security can be an issue in that region. Many of the roads leading south out of Arba Minch though are surprisingly good. Alright, so now the part you've all been waiting for. How much does it cost to go to Arba Minch and Nechisar National Park, and do I think it was worth it? So the cost breakdown for this one is going to be a bit different because my primary purpose was not tourism while I was there. So some of the costs are going to be what I paid, and some of them are going to be what you would pay if you did certain things like a tour. I'm doing this video in February 2024, but be aware that the inflation rate in Ethiopia is crazy high, so it's hard to say what prices will be in the future based on your own currency and the exchange rate. They could be better, they could be worse. So round-trip airfare from Charleston, South Carolina to Addis Ababa, Ethiopia was $1,390. This was on Ethiopian Air. I'm not totally thrilled with Ethiopian Air, but it does have a direct flight from Washington, D.C. to Addis Ababa, so I end up only having one layover between Charleston and Addis, which is amazing. Then I had a regional flight between Addis and Arba Minch. This was an additional $275 round trip, not bad. This was also on Ethiopian Air. 2 nights at the Haile Resort with a room facing the national park and the lakes was $166 a night for a twin room. This is frankly an amazing deal for what you're getting. The prices at the restaurant are also quite reasonable, though I'm not going to give specific examples because it really depends on what you get. Regardless though, you're not going to break the bank on food. One luxury I did splurge on, which I do not usually do, is I had a 1-hour massage in the hotel. This cost me all of $14 with tip, and yes, you did hear that right. So prices for subsidiary items are more than reasonable. Once you get to Arba Minch, you pretty much have the national park and the cultural sites you can see. We had already hired a driver for the week, so we had him to take us to the national park. Once we got to the park itself, I believe the entry fee for our car was about $20. Then we had to spend another $20 for an armed ranger to take us as we walked through the forest. There are packages available through the hotel itself for about $150 for a couple that includes some of the meals, airport pickup, seeing some of the sites like the Crocodile Ranch and the Dorza Village, and a few other things as well. I didn't do this specific package, but it looks like it's probably worth it. As far as getting out to the southern nations and seeing the sites and tribes, there is a large spread on what you can pay. Some of the more simple tours where you're pretty much just hiring a driver can be as little as $200 a person for a few days, up to several $1,000s. As they say, you get what you pay for. Some of the more inclusive packages were about $1,800 for a group of 3 for 5 days to the Omo Valley. I did not personally do these, but there are choices out there, and this seems like one of the more reasonable ones. I wish I could be more specific on this video, but as I said, I wasn't in Arba Minch for tourism, so my actual incurred costs were limited to the airline tickets, the hotel, and the nearby sites like the national park. So now the big question, is it worth it, in my opinion, to go to Arba Minch? Well, that question is a little more complicated than normal. If you're just planning to go to Arba Minch and the national park, then probably not. It's a bit of an ordeal getting there. The national park is frankly not as great as a lot of the other ones in Africa. There are management problems and other ethical issues, such as people that were forcibly removed from the land for the park. The accommodations are great, and if you just wanted to disappear for a week, this would be a great place to go, but not just for its own sake. If, on the other hand, you're planning to go to the southern nations and specifically the Omo Valley, you're a photographer, and you don't mind being uncomfortable once you leave the city, then absolutely Arba Minch is a great place to stop on the way there and the way back, just not for the sake of Arba Minch itself. I hope this video was helpful to you. If it was, please like this video and leave a comment. Also, please subscribe so you'll get notified when other content comes out, and check out some of our other videos as well. So until next time, this is John Walworth for Travel Worth Taking.